The Ingush. But before we get too deep into the video, first I want to tell you guys about my social media platforms. So I have a Clubhouse account and we can actually talk to one another on it. I also host Clubhouse rooms every now and then where I might talk about history and genetics of the Middle East and Africa. I have a Twitter page, a Facebook account, and a Facebook page, as well as a Instagram, all titled The Hebrew of Israel. And what I typically do on these platforms is post upcoming videos as well as slides for my presentations. And so just be on the lookout for all of that on my social media platforms. And if you want to support me financially for the channel, you can look at my Patreon as well as my PayPal and my GoFundMe. And with all of that out of the way, let's begin with the video. So the Ingush were mentioned as one of the groups with the highest amounts of haplogroup J. Therefore, let's study them and get to know them better. So the Ingush is a Northeast Caucasian language. The Ingush are a Northeast Caucasian native ethnic group of the North Caucasus, mostly inhabiting their nativity, Ingushtania. Ingushtania is a republic of Russia located in the North Caucasus of Eastern Europe. The republic is part of the North Caucasian Federal District and shares land borders with the country of Georgia to its south. So there is Ingushtania right here. It's basically north of the Caucasus. They say it's in Russia, but also keep in mind it's also in the Caucasus. That can probably be confusing. So, according to Leonti Mevroni, the 11th century Georgian chronicler, the word Caucasian is derived from the Venak ancestor Kavoskus. According to Professor George Anach Batez of Ilian State University, the Vanaks are the ancient natives of the Caucasus. It is noteworthy that according to genealogical table drawn up by Leonti Mevroni, the legendary forefather of the Vanaks was Kavoskus, hence the name Kavoskians. One of the ethnocons met in the ancient Georgian written sources signifying the ancestors of the Chechens and Ingush. As appears from the above, the Vanaks, at least by name, are presented as the most Caucasian people of all the Caucasians. Caucus, Kavoskus, Kavoskians, basically Caucasians, in the Georgian historical tradition. In an article in Science magazine, Bernice Wethrich states that American linguist Dr. Joanna Nichols has used language to connect modern people of the Caucasus region to the ancient farmers of the Fertile Crescent, and that her research suggests that farmers of the region were Proto-Nak-Dangestanians. Nichols is quoted as stating that the Nak-Dangestanian languages are the closest thing we have to a direct continuation of the cultural and linguistic continuity that gave rise to Western civilization. 10,000 through 8,000 BC. So according to Bernice Wethrich's article, Peering into the Past with Words, Joanna Nichols showed that linguistic evidence indicates that ancestors of Nak people migrated to the slopes of the Caucasus from the Fertile Crescent, where farming and raising sheep and cattle had been discovered. Nichols stated that the Nak-Dangestanian languages are the closest thing we have to a direct continuation of the cultural and linguistic community that gave rise to Western civilization. Anthropologist Henry Harpington of the University of Utah is impressed by her research. So basically, she's saying that the peoples of the Nakhdengestani were first in the Fertile Crescent, but then, of course, they migrated to the Caucasus, bringing ideas of farming and certain terms and phrases and tools and things of that nature. So it's fairly interesting. So 6000 through 4000 BC, the Neolithic era, pottery is known to the region. Old settlements near Ali Urut and Majais, discovered in the modern times, revealed tools made out of stone, stone axes, polished stones, stone knives, stones with holes drilled in them, clay dishes, etc. Settlements made out of clay bricks discovered in the plains. In the mountains, there were discovered settlements made out of stones surrounded by walls. Some of them dated back to 8000 BC. Now, through 4000 through 3000 BC, you have the core Araxes culture, which dominate in Ingushtania. Invention of the wheel was 3000 BC. Horseback riding, metalworks, copper, gold, silver, iron, dishes, armor, daggers, knives, arrow tips, etc. So here is just a map of the core Araxes culture. As you can see here in red, this is the zone of the core Araxes culture. And we'll learn more about that culture at another time. But the genetics of Ingushtania population, the Ingush have 89% of J2Y DNA, which is the highest known frequency in the world. So the Ingush have the highest known frequency of haplogroup J2, and so in the world. And J2 is closely associated with the Fertile Crescent, which is interesting with what we just read about from Jenna Nichols. And so in 1901, Scottish Geographical Magazine on page 570 through 572 mentions the Ingush are considered very ancient inhabitants of the Caucasus, but their origin is lost in obscurity and even contradictory traditions. The complexion of the Ingush is swarthy. He is tall and slight in form. The Soviet-Russian anthropologist and scientist N.Y. Mar.V.V. Bonosk, M.R. Muchovy, I.M. Dankov, I.E. Koropnov, and G.A. Meliskovy wrote, among Ingush and Caucasian type is preserved better than among any other North Caucasian nation. Basically saying that the Ingush look very Caucasian. So Professor of Anthropology V.V. Bonovsk and Gorznovsky Rabochi on volume 5 in 1935, Professor G.F. Debs recognized that Ingush Caucasian anthropologic type is the most Caucasian among Caucasians. So here are the Ingush people. As they said, some of them can be sort of swarthy, or as I would term it, kind of tanned skinned, but their hair is dark. That's also another way that they could be describing them as swarthy, being dark haired as well. And as you can see, their features. And they have very unique features in a way. They have a very long nose, very angular face, straight hair, of course, and it is dark. But of course, as they grow older, it becomes gray. But a lot of these people do have dark hair and very long noses. In a way, their noses actually look kind of aquiline or hooked in a way. So they have a very particular type. So in summary, the Ingush people are a Northeast Caucasian group. They speak a Nak-Dagestan language. According to their oral history, they come from the Fertile Crescent, coming from the Fertile Crescent to the Caucasus, And genetically, they have the highest amount of haplogroup J2, up to 89% in the world. And phenotypically, they are Caucasian, white to tan skin, black to brunette hair, dark eyes, sometimes even blue, and a hooked nose. And so this is where we'll end with the Ingush. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, and share the video. Leave a comment for any questions you might have. And with all of that out of the way, have a great day and shalom.